In response to the U.S. sanctions on China's electric vehicle industry, Canada announced in October 2024 that it would impose a 100% tariff on electric vehicles from China. Subsequently, Canada imposed a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum products and plans to impose tariffs on some solar products and key minerals from China from 2025. In addition, Canada also plans to impose tariffs on semiconductors, permanent magnets, and natural graphite imported from China starting in 2026. In the eyes of many people, this is Canada's provocation to China. Interestingly, China has begun to take countermeasures before Canada officially implemented these new rounds of sanctions against China. In March 2025, China's Ministry of Commerce announced that it would impose a 100% tariff on rapeseed oil, oil cakes, and peas from Canada, and a 25% tariff on Canadian aquatic products and pork. Economic experts said that Canada is likely to suffer losses of more than $3.8 billion as a result. Some media even reported that although the tariff war has not yet officially started, Canada seems to have become a loser. So why did Canada choose to impose tariffs on Chinese industries? And how much damage will China's countermeasures cause to Canada? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. As we all know, in order to curb the expansion of Chinese electric vehicles in the global market, the United States will increase tariffs on Chinese new energy electric vehicles from 25% to 100% in 2024. It is worth mentioning that European countries, as the largest overseas market for Chinese cars, also announced at the same time that they would impose tariffs of up to 45% on Chinese electric vehicles in order to keep in line with the United States. As one of the most loyal allies of the United States, Canada naturally followed suit and decided to impose a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. In addition, Canada also imposed a 25% tariff on 23 tariff items related to electric vehicles, 163 tariff items of steel, and 19 tariff items of aluminum products. Shockingly, when announcing these tariff measures, the Trudeau government made it clear that it would keep pace with U.S. policies, but did not provide any clear explanation for these tariff measures. This attitude has also attracted widespread attention from the outside world, and many people believe that this is Canada's provocation to China. However, Canada's move also aroused the anger of the Chinese government. In October 2024, less than 24 hours after Trudeau announced the sanctions, China urgently launched 4 countermeasures. First, China announced the launch of an anti-dumping investigation on canola imported from Canada. As the world's largest producer of canola, Canada's product occupies an important position in the Chinese market. Secondly, China has also launched a similar anti-dumping investigation on Canadian petrochemical products. Third, China decided to bring Canada's violations to the World Trade Organization, using the international platform to accuse Canada of violating international trade rules. Finally, China also launched an anti-discrimination investigation against Canada. According to my investigation, China's anti-dumping investigation on Canada is currently only in the investigation stage, and no actual measures have been taken. But even so, Canada's agricultural market has suffered a huge impact. Canadian media said that canola prices in several major agricultural provinces in the country plummeted overnight. Then, at the end of December 2024, the Canadian government announced that in response to China's tariff measures, the country plans to impose tariffs on solar products and key minerals imported from China starting in 2025, and plans to impose tariffs on semiconductors, permanent magnets, and natural graphite imported from China in 2026. Surprisingly, with the arrival of 2025, Canada's new round of sanctions has not yet been implemented, but China has once again issued a counterattack against Canada. So what is going on? In fact, China's new round of sanctions is the result of the previous anti-dumping investigation. In March 2025, China's Ministry of Commerce announced that it would impose tariffs of 100%, 25%, and 25% on some agricultural products, aquatic products, and pork from Canada. The scope of agricultural products subject to tariffs this time includes rapeseed oil, oil cakes, peas, and other major Canadian exports. The aquatic products currently exported by Canada to China are also subject to the additional tariffs, including lobster, Arctic shrimp, Monterey shrimp, peony shrimp, Dungeness crab, snow crab, Greenland halibut, dried Arctic ginseng, geoduck, Arctic clams, and jade snails. It is important to note that these products will be subject to further retaliatory tariffs on the basis of the current tariff rates and will not be exempted. Shockingly, only 3 days after China's tariffs on Canadian agricultural products came into effect, a chain reaction has occurred in Canada's agricultural system. In the canola industry chain, farmers in Saskatchewan face direct losses of $200 per ton, and related processing companies have reached a historical peak in inventory backlogs. In the fishery sector, Canada's commercial fishing vessels have been suspended for more than 60%, and the risk of default on pre-sale orders has caused credit institutions to tighten financing. Moreover, the new tariffs of more than $2.6 billion will undoubtedly hit Canadian producers hard. Faced with such a grim situation, Canada's Minister of International Trade, Minister of Agriculture, and Minister of Fisheries jointly issued a statement calling for an end to the trade war with China. So why do China's sanctions cause such huge economic losses to Canada? First, let's look at the aquatic industry. According to statistics from 2024, China is Canada's second largest fish and seafood export market after the United States, with a total value of imported aquatic products reaching $1.5 billion each year, accounting for 7% of the total import value of aquatic products. According to the analysis of the Ministry of Fisheries of China, as the third largest seafood supplier, Canada occupies a very high share of the export value of some important seafood categories. Taking 2024 as an example, some of Canada's aquatic products exported to China account for a very high proportion of the country's total global imports. Lobster accounts for 99.8%, Arctic shrimp and Monterey shrimp account for 35.4%, clams, Arctic clams, etc. account for 99.6%, crabs, snow crabs, etc. account for 20.1%, and Greenland halibut accounts for 18.8%. In addition, the total value of crab exports in British Columbia, Canada, exceeds $150 million each year, of which about 90% are sold to China. More notably, these niche catches have brought rich income to British Columbia, with Pacific geoduck alone generating $50 million in revenue for the province each year. The president of the British Columbia Fisheries Association said that since the province's aquatic products are usually sold in advance, fishing boat owners have little room to pass on the new tariff cost to wholesale buyers, and they are unlikely to rush to catch aquatic products before the March deadline. It is estimated that the 25% tariff imposed on Canadian seafood is expected to directly threaten approximately $500 million in seafood revenue each year. At the same time, Canadian agricultural data shows that the additional tariffs imposed by China have brought the tariff on rapeseed oil to 128% and the tariff on peas to more than 150%, which has directly led to a 73% decline in the competitiveness of Canadian agricultural exports to China and almost lost the Chinese market. According to statistics, China imports about $5 billion of rapeseed products from Canada each year, accounting for more than 40% of its total exports, up to 5.05 million tons, second only to the United States, $5.5 billion. From the data we have collected, Canada's rapeseed industry contributes about $17 billion in output value to the economy each year, while providing about 250,000 jobs and bringing in $8.2 billion in wages. It can be said that the rapeseed industry has always been the core of Canadian agriculture, but now it is facing an unprecedented crisis. In addition to rapeseed, peas used to be a cash cow for Canadian farmers, but now they have become food for cattle. In early March, China and Ukraine signed the Ukrainian pea export agreement to China and immediately took countermeasures, which dealt a huge blow to Canada. As soon as the news that China announced a 100% tariff on peas was released, the voices of Canadian farmers almost resounded throughout the country. Peas were once an important agricultural product exported by Canada to China, with an annual export volume of up to 2 million tons in the past. Canadian farmers once relied on the Chinese market to consume more than 70% of their pea production. However, now they find that these beans that once brought wealth can only be poured into the mouths of livestock. What's worse is that Canadian farmers have completed spring sowing, but are facing the dilemma of no harvest. But let's assume that the 360,000 hectares of pea fields planted in Saskatchewan, Canada, which were originally expected to bring in $1 billion in revenue, are now doomed to be losses. Ukraine has pledged to supply China with 1.2 million tons of peas each year, quickly filling the market gap left by Canada. As the market changes, pea prices have fallen by 30%, and trading companies are unwilling to purchase them. Farmers can only dispose of a large number of peas at low prices, or even have to feed them directly to cattle. At the same time, Canadian banks have frozen 47% of agricultural loans, and seed and fertilizer dealers have also experienced a run, which has put Canada in a double dilemma of being unable to recover planting costs and losing market share. The Canadian Federation of Agriculture predicts that if the dispute continues until 2026, 1,200 to 1,500 family farms are expected to go bankrupt, mainly in agricultural provinces such as Manitoba. Although China can turn to importing European soybeans and Russian rapeseed, Canada cannot find a second buyer who could digest 500,000 tons of peas. China's 100% counter tariff on agricultural products has put thousands of companies upstream and downstream of the industrial chain into a survival crisis. Relevant industry insiders in Canada said that this is not just an ordinary trade dispute, but a serious issue related to the survival of Canadian agriculture. Canada is not only facing China's blow, but also has to deal with the challenge of the Trump administration raising the tariff on Canadian dairy products to 25%. Canada originally hoped to maintain its alliance with the United States by following the United States in sanctioning China, but it was greeted by Trump's claim that Canada will become the 51st state. Now, with the United States' tariff increase, the double blow has caused Canada's GDP growth rate to drop sharply from 1.9% to minus 0.7%. This dilemma has made Canada face a more complicated situation, and the game with the central government has become more intense. So, who do you think won this game? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.